Hello, we are very pleased to have with us today Dr. Dave Carpenter. Dr. Carpenter is a graduate of Central State College of Health Sciences, a diplomat of International Academy of Medical Acupuncturists, and has 20 years experience as a naturopath and acupuncturist. Dr. Carpenter's focus for the past 20 years has been educating people on how to become healthy and how to stay healthy. Dr. Carpenter, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. My first question for you today, Dr. Carpenter. Dr. Hiromi Shinya, along with yourself and most all other health specialists, believe that it is vitally important for one's health to drink the right water. Could you tell us what is the right water and elaborate a bit on that for me?
Absolutely, Jeannie. I think the first part of that is we have to understand that the body is basically 70 to 80% water. We come into this world at an even higher amount of water, and basically a baby is about 90% water. And as you know, baby skin is soft and smooth, and everybody compares skin to babies. And the reason is the high saturation and hydration levels, and that's what is necessary for health. So water is one of the first keys to health, and the right water, as you just mentioned, is extremely important because there's several characteristics of that water. Obviously, it needs to be clean and pure, but that's just a starting point. In other words, we want to take as many of the toxins and chemicals and all of those types of things out of it as we possibly can. And then we want that water to be structured in such a way that the body can utilize it better. One of the really neat things about the Enagic water generator is that it microclusters water. It means simply that the water molecules are smaller. There are less of those than in regular water, which means that when it gets inside the body, the water, which acts as a solvent, basically hydrates better. It helps detoxify the body better. In other words, it's cleansing the garbage out as well as carrying more of the good stuff into the cells. Now this water can do some other aspects, and that's why Dr. Shinya is so excited about it, because as we've seen in previous film clips, what he's done with gastrointestinal patients is absolutely incredible, with footage from the colonoscopy showing how the water literally has cleaned the inside of the intestinal tract. It's literally taken dark, sick, unhealthy cells and turned them into healthy pink tissue again in a matter of sometimes as short a time as 30 to 90 days. And it's because this water has these properties. One, it's antioxidant, meaning that it basically helps reduce the oxidation or the aging process that cells go through when they're basically being overcome by free radicals. What it's doing is it's helping to reduce that free radical damage or slowing down the aging process, which lets the cell be stronger, healthier, and more vital so that it can do the job that it was designed to do. And it doesn't matter where in the body it's at, by the way. It doesn't matter whether it's in the GI tract, whether it's in the heart, whether it's in the brain, or whether it's in your fingertips, for example. Another aspect of water that's really important is the amount of oxygen that is in the water, the amount of oxygen that's being carried by the water. Our body, again, needs oxygen. Oxygen is critical in metabolic processes. It's also critical in alkalizing or neutralizing acids, in other words. Alkalization is a third component that's extremely important in the water. And if we're getting water in our bodies that's alkaline, it helps the body reduce the load on the alkalizing buffering systems, such as our pancreas, such as our bones, where we store important minerals, our teeth, our connective tissue. That is why people with high acid problems tend to have connective tissue problems or receding gums, because the hard bones basically and connective tissue of the body are where we store a lot of our minerals, along with muscles. And so these minerals then have to be pulled away from these storage areas and where they're being utilized to work with the bones and the connective tissue just to neutralize acid waste. So alkalizing water does away with the need for that and is able to pull a lot of these things out of the body quicker, more efficiently, and certainly without losing those precious minerals that our body needs for growth and for properly functioning of the cells.
Dr. Carpenter, you know, I'm hearing so much today about people are more acidic than ever before. Therefore, it only makes sense that there is more of a need for this Kangen water than ever before. So could you just explain to me as best as you can, why today are people more acidic than ever before? I mean, why is that so vitally important now, more so than it was maybe 10, 20 years ago?
It's a great question, Jeannie. I think there's several reasons for that. One of the reasons, of course, is our diet. But even bigger than just our diet is our lifestyle. We're busier, we're on the run more. I mean, you talk to a mother today, for example, and you know, we call them soccer moms affectionately because they're constantly on the run. I mean, I feel sorry just listening to all of the things that they have to do in a day, and this kind of stress is unbelievable on the body, and it creates a tremendous amount of acid waste. But to put it in perspective, just understand that as the body metabolizes fuel at the cellular level, it's creating energy and a byproduct, and because of the lifestyle and because of the diet or the fuel source that we use, in other words, this is mostly an acid. Acids come out through the process of metabolism, and they have to be neutralized. Most of you will remember at a time in your life when you over-exercise or overstrained, and the next morning waking up and you can barely move. You scream, muscles hurt. You're just literally aching just to move and get out of bed and maybe go into the bathroom for the first time in the morning. It's like, I don't even want to do this. Well, that's really mostly lactic acid. And lactic acid is generated when we overuse our muscles, or when we use our muscles, and the degree to which we're able to neutralize and move that lactic acid out of the body, Jeannie, is what helps us determine how much we can do before the body processes start to slow us down. So this is where acid waste becomes a problem, and then the acids have to be neutralized. And in order to neutralize it, again, we have to go back to several different systems of the body that we have that are set up to deal with the buffering, we call it, of these acids. They neutralize those acids. And there are several systems. One of them, for example, is fat cells. Fat cells literally protect us from our acid waste. They keep the vital organs from being destroyed by acid waste.
Is that why what I'm finding with a lot of people, once they start drinking the Kangen water, they begin losing a tremendous amount of weight, especially if they are overweight? Is that the reason suddenly they're starting to rid the body of that acid waste, therefore they're losing weight? Can you explain that a little bit?
That's exactly right. What happens is, again, as I was mentioning, it's one of the buffers the body uses to neutralize acid or to protect itself from acid. So one, when you see a person who's overweight, understand that their body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's protecting them from themselves, from their poor lifestyle, the choices they're making. And so as people go on this water, which alkalizes and hydrates, it also detoxifies. Now, as it alkalizes, the aspect we were talking about, it literally allows the body to start dumping that weight or those fat cells that it really don't want to have there. It simply has them there to protect us from ourselves, from our acid waste.
Dr. Carpenter, I know that, I know personally many people that you have worked with, patients of yours, that have come to you with some pretty serious health challenges, such as arthritis, osteoporosis, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, even cancer, that you recommend Kangen water to. It seems to be one of your first recommendations, and I know that they've all had some amazing results with their health challenges or improvement. Can you explain why? I mean, does it really help with just about any illness? Can you see an improvement just drinking this water? And of course with other things also.
Jeannie, the way I'd like to answer that question is like this. To understand all of these different health challenges, you have to understand that they're simply signals, just like the light in your car is. When something's out of balance or when something's wrong, the little light on the dash comes on. And different things can be wrong and different lights will therefore come on. But each light signals to you something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Each one of these disease processes or imbalances that you just mentioned are all simply signals telling us something's out of balance. Let me see if I can explain to you this way, using this little analogy, how this works and how the water is so crucial. Imagine for just a minute that the water inside your body is really the water in a fish tank. And we have this fish tank, and we have lots of fish swimming around in the tank. Just like the cells in your body, these fish are fed by the fluids that they are bathed in. And we call these interstitial fluids. Now, these interstitial fluids are actually fed by the bloodstream. And what happens is the bloodstream brings in fuel and oxygen in the form of food and air, oxygen. And those are brought into this fluid, just like we dump food into the top of the fish tank. Mm-hmm. And then the cells, just like the fish, are fed by this food and oxygen. Now, just like the fish, they eat this food and they metabolize it, and then they excrete waste back out into that fluid. Now, the body's job is to take that waste material and get rid of it. And the efficiency at which it does that determines our health. It's really that simple. And there's a lot of smarter men than me out there who have written numbers of books and research papers showing us that the efficiency that we do that determines our health in many, many levels. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and to some degree even spiritually. Because these waste materials or waste products literally change the way the cells work. Just like the goldfish swimming around in your fish tank, mm-hmm. they start to get sick if there's too much polluted water in the tank. Now, the crazy part about this is that we know if our fish are getting sick that we need to clean up the water. But for some reason in our society, we don't understand the same principle holds true to our body's cells. And so we don't even consider cleaning up the water. And yet it's the water truly that is the carrier. So with every one of these different terrible health conditions that you just mentioned, if we can get the water in the body cleaner, things start to happen. And with this powerful Kangen water, what we're really doing is we're energizing the cells by cleaning them up, by moving the toxins out faster, and by alkalizing the body, we're actually taking a lot of load or pressure off the body's buffering systems, which helps the pancreas, it helps several of the other glands and organs. It helps reduce bone loss because of the minerals that's stored in the bones. And another aspect of this water that's incredibly important in that aspect or in that part is this water literally goes in and helps the body utilize better the nutrition that you're eating. So if you're being careful with your diet, if you're eating the right foods, especially those alkalizing foods like fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains, legumes, then it's going to make the nutrients in there, what I mean by nutrients is vitamins and minerals and amino acids and essential fatty acids, it's going to make those more bioavailable. They're more utilized by the body. And so just taking your regular amount of vitamins, for example, your regular daily multivitamins, and drinking this water, what will happen is those vitamins, instead of you assimilating maybe 10 or 15% of those, you may get 70 or 80% of those because of this water being in the body. Mm-hmm. And wow. So it's an incredible and powerful way to enhance what we're trying to accomplish.
Dr. Carpenter, I understand that there are many other properties to the Enagic water machine as far as the different types of water that can be used for various things, all of them very important to one's health. And I know that I personally have had some amazing results with skin blemishes with the strong acid water. I mean, I had a very, very scary looking brown spot on my hand right here that had been there 2 years, completely disappear. Mm-hmm. Another one on my shoulder that looked very frightening. And people are starting to see eczema and things of that nature disappear. So if you could just touch on a little bit some of the other properties of the various waters that come from this machine, because certainly we're all starting to understand the importance of the Kangen water, what that can do for our bodies in ridding it of the acid waste. But I think that as people get more and more knowledgeable of the many uses, of course, that makes so much sense as to why people should have this in their home. So if you could just touch on some of the other types of water that we benefit from having this machine.
Absolutely. I think, you know, it would be good to understand that beauty...
And, excuse me, and why did that happen?
Okay. That's a good point. I think it's really helpful to understand that beauty begins on the inside. Basically,